I'm here with the founder of eComCatalyst, Mr. Fred McKinnon.
The better part of my adult life, I've been in music ministry, actually. I did church music for 25 years. And I always say God put me here for my music, and I sell widgets on the internet to pay the bills.
I like it.
Most people think it's easy.
Yep.
People just think there's not a whole lot to it.
Right.
But it's not easy. It's very complicated. It takes a lot of work, a lot of ongoing work. Although it can very much be passive, it's definitely not passive in the way that the IRS defines passive income.
Right.
You got to work to make it happen. The whole landscape is upside down right now. We're in the middle of a trade war with China, with other countries, and it's really turned the game upside down. We don't know. You got disruptors like TikTok Shop, Temu, however you say it, Shein. You've got all the social commerce stuff popping up. If there's any platform on the planet for a person to start from scratch and build a brand, it's on Amazon.
Amazon.
100%.
Welcome back to another episode of the Southern Executive Experience. I'm here with the founder of eComCatalyst, Mr. Fred McKinnon. Fred, thank you for coming.
Hey, Jamie. Thanks for having me.
For those that don't know you, Fred, tell us a little about you and what do you do?
Yeah, sure. Thanks. Like I said, my name is Fred McKinnon. I live here local on St. Simon's Island, Georgia, and I do e-commerce. So I'm full-blown into e-commerce. The better part of my adult life, I've been in music ministry, actually. I did church music for 25 years, full-time staff as a worship leader, worship pastor in a few churches. So that's been a part of my life forever.
Yep.
And I always say God put me here for my music, and I sell widgets on the internet to pay the bills.
I like it.
And so I did that. And when I worked at church, I started doing e-commerce kind of as a side hustle,
Right.
Way to, make a little bit of extra money. If you've worked at a church, you don't necessarily get paid a lot of money. So you gotta, I got 4 kids. And so it's like, hey, we gotta do a little something more here. To make things happen.
I understand.
Right. So I did that kind of as a side hustle over the years. And then about 6-7 years ago, I pivoted away from being on full-time church staff. And now I just serve as a volunteer here and there, but, so I was able to pivot into the e-commerce business full-time. And so that's what I'm doing now. I have some brands that I sell my own products. I resell a few products here and there on Shopify and Amazon, a few marketplaces, and then started eComCatalyst, which is an agency where we help other brands grow and scale profitably on Amazon and other channels.
Cool. Well, how did you get, I know you said it was a side hustle, but how did you get started in e-commerce?
Man, I just kind of stumbled into it. Many, many years ago, I had a brother who was trying to find some Lego Bionicle toys for my nephew, for his son, for his birthday.
Right.
And I think he called me or texted me and said, "Hey, Fred, you can do that internet. You know how to do eBay, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, I've done a few things on eBay." He's like, "I'm trying to find these Lego Bionicles for Ethan, his son. I can't find them anywhere." So I start searching eBay, and sure enough, man, I knew how to do like search completed listings. And I was like, everybody that's had Lego Bionicles sold them. Every single person had them, sold them.
Right.
So all of a sudden I forgot about the nephew, and I was like, I got to figure out how to buy some Lego Bionicles somewhere, wholesale, resell them. And even as a kid, I've always kind of been an entrepreneur, right? I mean, I was a kid on the bicycle peddling Christmas cards and gift wrap and selling candy bars. I mean, always the guy doing that.
I was selling pencils, and my dad was in office supplies, so I would always come for pencils and erasers.
Yeah. I'd go buy the big bag of Jolly Ranchers and sell them at school. I mean, whatever it was.
Yep.
So I stumbled into it that way,
Gotcha.
And I stayed up for a couple of nights trying to find how do I buy toys wholesale. And I learned about drop shipping, which I didn't know what that was. Learned about drop shipping, and I remember finding this directory. It cost $99. Let me tell you, Jamie, at that point in my life, this is probably 25, 30 years ago, probably 30 years ago, maybe. I don't know, probably 23, 24 years ago. $99 was a lot of money.
Yeah.
And if it was money I blew on some scam and my wife found out, it wasn't going to be good.
Sleeping on the couch.
Yeah, it was one of these, midnight landing pages like access thousands of trusted distributors who will drop ship, and lifetime access to this directory for $99. And I was like,
too good to be true.
Right. And I spent the $99, and it was true.
Awesome.
It was everything it was supposed to be. I found a couple of distributors,
Mm-hmm.
signed up for them, used my social security number as, sole proprietor, and did that and started listing the products that they have on Amazon and eBay.
Mm-hmm.
Started getting orders. I'm like, wow, So it was just stumbled into it.
Little by little.
Little by little. That's
Yeah,
right.
That's right. But took a risk and it paid off.
That's
So,
right.
Good
Yeah.
deal. What's something that most people misunderstand about selling online?
That's easy. Most people think it's easy.
Yep.
I think it's easy and quick. They think easy, quick, and passive.
Yeah.
It's like I sleep, make money while I sleep, and all I got to do is list it and forget it.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of, people just think there's not a whole lot to it.
Right.
And it, and I will say 15 years ago, it was a lot easier.
Yeah.
5 years ago, it was a lot easier, right? But it's not easy. It's very complicated. Takes a lot of work, a lot of ongoing work. And although it can very much be passive, it's definitely not passive in the way that the IRS defines passive income.
Right.
You got to work to make it happen.
It's not like the gurus try to sell you on the online. It's not just sign up here and you're going to be a millionaire. You got to learn it and do the work.
Yeah, I see those ads, and the only ones becoming millionaires are the people selling those made-for-you stores.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, they're the only ones.
The gurus. That's what we call. We always tell in our business consultants. Once they get at it, they sell their business, but they want to go be a consultant and tell you how to do your business.
Well, see, now you're getting in all into my space.
Oh, my bad. My bad.
Because that's exactly what we do.
That's right. That's right. Well, they definitely have their place. That's funny. Well, now that I put my foot in my mouth, we'll keep going. But what do you see happening in the next 5 years as far as e-commerce and the new technologies and everything that's coming out there?
Yeah, that's a hard one to answer because it is like we're taping this in April 2025, and the whole landscape is upside down right now. We're in the middle of a trade war with China, with other countries, with the Trump administration and their trade policy. And it's really turned the game upside down. We don't know. I've got clients in our agency that they don't know if they're going to have products to sell in 30 days. Amazon has just pretty dramatically risen. Let me say that again. Yeah. Amazon has pretty much risen. How do you say that? Risen the
raised?
Price.
Raised. Yeah.
Thank you. All right, we get it right. Here we go. Amazon has started raising the prices on a lot of their stuff. And I'm reading where they've told China just to stop making stuff.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know what's going to happen right now. You'd like to think everybody's like, get a real job. I get those comments already. Get a real job and manufacture in the United States like you should. But people aren't educated on what that really means.
Right.
And I'm as, patriotic as they come. I'm all for it, right? But there's just a whole lot of stuff right now that's currently manufactured in China or overseas. It's just not going to happen here in the United States.
Right.
Not anytime soon, maybe in a year or two, but it's not happening today. But all of this tariff stuff, it's not like it gave us time. I mean, some of this stuff's been enacted after the fact. Like I got colleagues who have paid $500,000 deposit on product, and then all this happens. And they got to decide if they're going to surrender that product and forfeit their $500,000 deposit, or if they're going to accept delivery and pay another $1.5 to $2 million in tariffs for product that they will never, ever be able to sell at that price.
Right. And still take a loss. And man.
So it's not like they said, heads up, in 6 months, we're going to start this. So plan ahead.
Right.
You just got screwed either way, So, but you got all that going on. You got disruptors like TikTok Shop, Temu or Temu, however you say it, Shein. Yeah. You've got all the social commerce stuff popping up. There's no telling. People often think, what's going to happen with Amazon? Who's the next Amazon killer? You hear that a lot.
Yeah.
I'm bullish on Amazon. I hate them and love them at the same time. I think they're going to survive. I think they'll always be there. If the government started really cracking down and breaking apart some of what they do, that could change the landscape a little bit. But I think the landscape's just crazy right now. There's so much that could happen with a vote from Congress, there's so much that can happen with the stroke of a pen in the Oval Office
Right.
that can literally disrupt commerce the way we see it.
Well, we all want made in America. I mean,
That's
that,
right,
we're all American, but in the end, there are some things that just aren't set up that way. We're a global economy, and I know copy machines. There's not hardly any that are made. There's one manufacturer, and I think they may make one part for one machine. They don't really make the whole machine here.
Right. Yeah.
And our stuff comes from the brands we carry come from mainly from Japan and Thailand. That kind of area. So, but we're still seeing the tariffs are affecting everybody.
That's right.
And we're seeing they're raising our prices as of June 1st, our manufacturers across the board.
Right.
So,
I saw the other day where Anchor, who's a huge Amazon seller that's been known for their really good quality phone chargers and phone accessories and, USB cables and things like that.
right.
They just raised their prices on Amazon about 18 to 20% overnight.
Man.
So they're like, yeah, no, it's not going to cause inflation. I'm like, you guys got your head stuck in the sand. It's absolutely going to cause inflation. One of my colleagues, I'm in a mastermind, just said he's going to have to raise their prices, like baby goods, diaper bags, things like that. I think they were going to have to raise their prices about 36% to make the same margin.
Yeah, Lee. That's wild.
Who's going to pay that, Jamie? You and I.
Yeah.
We're going to pay
it always goes downstream.
Right.
It's going to be the consumer that has to pay those tariffs. So
because most of these brands don't have the margin to absorb it.
No.
They got marketing costs, advertising costs, insurance costs, legal costs, and everything. Now you talking about e-commerce, man.
Yeah.
It's a legal minefield. This is just, whether you reselling somebody else's stuff, you get a cease and desist because you're not an authorized reseller of it.
Right.
You make your own thing and find out that it's too close to somebody else's and get sued because of that. You operating a website, and all of a sudden you get a email that says that some lady wanted to buy your widget and she has an impairment, like a visual impairment, and you didn't have the right enough color contrast. And so now you're getting $1 million ADA liability lawsuit.
Right.
And you got mom and pop people out there, making an extra 20, 30K a year on their little side store, getting hit with lawsuits like this,
it
where they're
ruins
like,
them.
really,
You can sue somebody for anything these days,
Right.
for sure. Now, as far as some of those different things, what about social shopping? We talked a little about that before, but how's that going to affecting, or what do you think about that?
Yeah, it's popping up everywhere. There's brand new ones. One you mentioned, Whatnot, that I never even heard of before.
That's right.
And I live in this world, and I hadn't heard of that.
That's wild.
All my colleagues were all in on TikTok Shop last year.
Mm-hmm.
I was sitting in a mastermind with a guy in New York. He was spending $50,000 a day in TikTok ads.
Wow.
For a supplement brand. So you can imagine his revenue on TikTok Shop alone.
Yeah.
Talked to a couple of brand owners just this week at our agency at eComCatalyst who have already successfully launched on TikTok Shop. Now they're wanting to pivot and grow on Amazon. But even that, people are scared because with the stroke of a pen, that thing goes away, right? Is it going to be banned? Is it not going to be banned?
That's right.
And then there's so many of them out there. I got a 19-year-old son who came in with this really cool sweatshirt the other day.
Yeah.
And I was like, where'd you get that? That's a good looking hoodie or whatever. He goes, I got it on, I think either TikTok Shop or Temu or something like that,
Right.
And I was like, man, that looks good. I mean, that's good quality. It's not cheap crap, right? I mean, it looked really good. And he says, he goes, guess what I paid for it? I was like, what, $15? He goes, $6. I was like, plus how much for the shipping? He goes, no, $6 with free shipping.
That doesn't even make sense.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a daughter, who's a sophomore in college, and she buys that stuff all the time, right? She loves those little boutique shops on Shopify and Shein and that kind of thing. And they're really disrupting the world, with their e-commerce, because they've got it now where they can get it to you quick. It used to be you had to wait 2 weeks, but they figured that out.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see what happens May 2nd coming up here. There's a rule that's changing with the tariffs, and it's something called de minimis.
What's that?
De minimis is something that's been in Section 301 of the code forever, that they've had forever, and it's an exemption that said if like China, for example, if they send a package and it's valued under $800, then there's no tariff or duty or tax or anything like that on it.
Gotcha.
So that's why a Chinese manufacturer can ship a hoodie to my son. The postage is cheaper and there's no duties, tariffs, taxes, anything like that. He can ship it to my son from China cheaper than I could ship it in a bubble mail or first class mail across the street.
And that's just a loop. That sounds like a loophole they're trying to close.
It's a loophole, and that closes. Right now, it's supposed to close midnight, May 2nd.
Yeah.
So that it only applies right now to China and Hong Kong, I think. But that's going to even hit me too, because I've got products that I order in bulk for one of my brands, and they come in FedEx or UPS Air. There's 100 widgets in a box, and they're right under that value. So I've never had to pay tariffs on them.
Right.
And but now I'm going to have to pay 150% tariff on it, and it's one of my best sellers, right?
Yeah, that's going to kill it. I mean, I would think.
Yeah. So I literally just told them last week, I said, make as many as you can make. Get them on the plane before like this Thursday.
Yeah.
So that they'll clear customs before May 2nd. And I don't need any. I got enough inventory right now, but I'm like trying to stock up for the next year and a half.
We don't know how long this is going to last.
We don't. Yeah.
Well, something popped up in my mind while we were been talking, and it's about a brand that I've heard. You know, I take it. AG1. I take the AG1 supplement. But what I've heard somewhere online that they lost an opportunity at major market share by not. They decided not to post on Amazon. They would not sell on Amazon, and they opened up the door to all these copycats that are similar. That's taken over a huge part of their market share. I'm trying to form that into a question, but it seems like a big mistake. They underestimated the e-commerce side of Amazon and things like that.
Yeah, that's right. That's a question. It's a source of friction that I get in sales call with clients. So my typical engagement with eComCatalyst, which is our agency, we help those kind of people, right? They're like, hey, we got a product, we got a brand, we're trying to grow on Amazon or grow on Shopify, grow on Walmart, TikTok Shop. We need help. Right. So that's what we do. And that's a common source of friction. Like, we don't want to depend on Amazon. We call it D2C, direct to consumer on our Shopify platform or whatever, not on Amazon. We want to be not on there at all. And some people have succeeded at that very well, but they completely opened the door to exactly what you said. Yep. And typically we win those people over because we want them to be on Amazon. That's what we do best is Amazon. Yeah. We win them over, Jamie, because we have tools that I can go and I can say, hey, look, this is the number of people every month that are searching for your brand on Amazon. Right. They're there. They want to buy there. There's going to be people who like, you know what? I want to support this brand directly. I don't want to buy it on Amazon. They'll find it on Amazon. Amazon's like one of the top search engines and discovery platforms in the world, right? Yeah. They'll find it there and then they'll go look to see if you got your own website and they'll buy it there. But a lot of people see it on a website or big time on social media. The first place they go to look for it is at Amazon. So like, no, we don't want to be on Amazon. I'm like, you see right here, man, 28,000 people a month are searching your brand name on Amazon. They're searching long tail phrase keywords that match exactly the name of your product on Amazon. Right. You're losing a lot of that. And even if 80% of those gave up and came to your site to order it, you're not defending your brand, because if they type that AC1 or whatever it was, the AG1, they type that on the brand name and all that. I guarantee you their competitors are advertising against that keyword. And they're cheaper. Right. And they're cheaper. Yeah. I think you have to be there for no other reason than to defend your brand. Yep.
This this video that I watched on this, it's been a few months. I love AG1, but I did the same thing you're talking about. I put it up there. And there's other big brands that now have grown and are very similar. And I've almost switched a dozen times just because I could save $20 a month. That's right. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's probably 90% the same thing. But I was curious. That question popped up because that seemed like like you said, a big decision that could hurt you if you didn't put your stuff on Amazon.
Yeah, it happened just yesterday. We had a call with a guy yesterday, and they launched a supplement on TikTok Shop. Got good success on TikTok Shop there. I want to say they're doing 30, 40K a month on their Shopify store.
Awesome.
They weren't on Amazon. they thought maybe we should look at Amazon. And if you type their brand name and the name of their product on Amazon, it was dominated on page one with Chinese resellers.
Yep.
Right? $10 a bottle less.
Yep.
They're like, man, we got to go there now. We got to defend our position over there.
Mm-hmm. At least got to get on the shelf.
That's right.
So as far as like a business in Brunswick, for a small business, what would be your tips for getting started in e-commerce for a small local coastal Georgia business?
I think it just depends on what they're trying to do.
Okay.
Do you have your own products, for example, or do you have your own branded products? Are they trademarked? That's kind of the area that we would want to work with. Someone who's got an established brand, a trademark. When I say trademark, it's important because there's a lot of reinforcements you can't do on Amazon without a registered trademark brand.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of marketing you can't do without a registered trademark brand.
Okay.
But I get asked that question all the time.
Yeah.
How do I get started?
Yeah.
Hey, I just retired from school teaching and I'm on my the money train or whatever.
Fixed budget
or what do you call it when you're a
pension?
Yeah, I'm on, all you flexi guys and everything else, and they're like, hey, I wanted to get into e-commerce.
Yeah.
If I could just make an extra $2,000-$3,000 a month, put it in a kid's college fund. What do I do?
Yeah.
So there's two paths to go. You got your businesses, you got your people who have products that they want to resell. All right. That's a different client. That's a different path than somebody who just wants to flip some products, make some extra money, put in their kids' college fund or to have more money to fix up the house or something like that.
Right.
All very, very valid. That's how I started it, right?
Yeah.
I started for that very reason. I just need to I worked at a church, wasn't getting paid much. And
I had supplemental income.
4 kids, needed supplemental income.
Yeah.
Somebody like that, I like to send them to a course. It's not my course. It's a friend of mine's course called Proven Amazon Course. And it teaches all the basics about Amazon. It goes into some in-depth stuff. And that's, somebody that can just go and buy and resell other stuff.
That's Proven Amazon Source?
Proven Amazon Course. PAC, PAC.
Okay, PAC. Good deal.
Right.
I may get them to put that logo down here so it'll pop up for
I got a little
guy.
Affiliate link for it or something too.
Yeah.
Somebody want to look. It's like $30 a month, right? And
Sure.
It's when I pivoted out of church staff and like, what am I going to do with my life now? I got to figure out a way to make this full-time stuff work.
Yeah.
I thought about building a course, selling a course, right?
Of course.
Been doing it for, 22 years now, over $100 million in sales. So, I know a thing or two about it.
Absolutely.
And, but I was like, I don't want to reinvent the wheel. And this is a great course. It's already out there. I send a lot of people to that. There's a Facebook group people can get involved in, things like that. But, a small business, sure enough, man, they want to list their stuff and sell. I work with a restaurant on the island that's got barbecue sauce and rubs and things like that. It's like stuff needs to be on Amazon,
Absolutely.
You're like, but there's a gazillion bottles of barbecue sauce from every brand under the world. I'm like, but not this one.
Right.
Let's put it on there. And sure enough, people buy it. People buy it. So,
well, you got to get it out there. So it's just a different path. That's interesting. You're answering my second question. I was going to ask you send people off to that different course for that. You deal mainly with businesses and people that already have the product.
Yeah, in eComCatalyst, we're working with brand owners, manufacturers and brand owners for the most part. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Some of those are individuals though.
Yeah.
I mean, you got mom and pop guys who started in their garage making a widget and now they're doing, 6-7 figures a month.
That's cool.
Online. So
that type of stuff really interests me. I got a buddy of mine who similar, funny you said barbecue. He did Wisham jellies, pepper jelly. He's from Tifton, Georgia, and he started this. Him and his family. He's just been making pepper jellies, and I think doing it themselves. And just one day decided they were going to make one and put their label on it and go. And he just built his own brand. And I just always thought that was the coolest thing to me. Built something from scratch.
Absolutely, and I still think today, if there's any platform on the planet for a person to start from scratch and build a brand, it's on Amazon. 100%. Yeah. I mean, because we worked with clients like that who had beef jerky or flavored nuts or whatever else, and they just kind of started it and we grew it. And, we've got people that tea bags, stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Now they're on Shark Tank, right? And they're selling out as soon as they get stock. They're selling out. So
That's cool. That is neat. Anything at all as far as what one question I definitely wanted to ask you. What has been your most rewarding part of starting your own business?
oh man, there's so many. There's so many. This business in particular is a lot of work.
Yep.
But it's work you can do from anywhere.
Yeah.
And pretty much you can do it whenever you need to. So, I worked full time forever at church, and then I'd get home and then I had little league and baseball and 4 kids growing up, and bath time and dinner and all that. A lot of times I didn't start my side hustle work till 8:30, 9 o'clock at work at night, up in the bonus room, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Work till midnight, get up, rinse the hands, do it all over again every day, right? But that's been rewarding to be able to do that and build that on my own time, on my own schedule. It's afforded me to have great time with my family. But it's been rewarding financially.
Yep.
We've been blessed. God's been good to us. We worked hard,
Yeah.
but it's been financially rewarding. It's very rewarding to be an employer,
Yeah.
and I employ people all over the world.
Yeah.
Just this week, my executive assistant celebrated his 5th year working for our companies in the Philippines.
Cool.
And he's like a son to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I will give him the password to every banking account that I have. Trust him with everything.
Yeah.
He has proven himself to be that trustworthy. I can't imagine life without him, right?
Right.
But we've been a blessing, to him. I mean, his status where he lives in the Philippines, he's got a great job. He's got a great career. So it's been life-changing for his family, for his generation. So that's always rewarding also. And then just to be able to be a part of the story of clients that you help.
Yeah.
And seeing their success. So I'm all about celebrating that.
That's awesome. Well, very similarly, I have all my editing done overseas. I worked with a marketing group that kind of got this going for me and talked me into doing the podcast.
Right.
I just wanted to make videos in front of a camera and do normal stuff, and they taught me to do it. But he's overseas, and I've never met him before, but we talk every day.
Yeah.
So it's just like we're just like he's like another coworker.
We're in global commerce.
Exactly.
Now. We're in global commerce. I started a YouTube channel last year, and same story. And kind of like the course, I was like, man, why am I going to do a YouTube channel? Because there's tons of gurus out there. Going back to your guru comment from earlier. There's so many gurus out there already.
Yeah.
Why would I do this? But I enjoy talking. I enjoy the interview thing. I enjoy sharing the knowledge that I have. And I was constantly answering the same questions, like, how did you get started? Blah, blah, blah. So I was like, man, I'm going to start recording these answers, these questions, making YouTube video out of it. So I don't have to. So I can send people hey, watch this video. I answer all those questions for you right here.
That's right.
It's not quite as personal, but anyway, but it's been successful. People are signing up. People are subscribing. But yeah, I've got an editor in India. And then right now I'm working with a team in Poland who's doing editing, and they're also kind of coaching me to try to make the channel better.
Okay.
But we got India, Poland, Pakistan, the Philippines.
Nigeria is where my guy's at.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And
yeah. But then, I've got employees here in the United States. I got them on St. Simon's local, got them in Indiana, Canada. So, part of just giving people a job and being a blessing to someone else's family. So I enjoy that.
That's awesome. Fred, you want to, what is your YouTube address?
Yeah, it's youtube.com and then the / and then the @ eComCatalyst Co. CO for like company.
eComCatalyst Co.
Right. I couldn't get eComCatalyst. I tried to get that handle, and it's a bunch of teenage boys, in T-shirts making jokes about selling various things on Amazon.
Right.
They're not doing anything. And I reached out to them. I was like, hey, I'll give you some money for this channel. I could get them to answer back. So yeah, I had to go eComCatalyst Co.
Got
CO.
Got it.
But yeah, that's where it is. If you search my name, Fred McKinnon, On YouTube, you're going to either find eComCatalyst or the Fred McKinnon music, the other side of me, like that I said. God put me here on the earth for my music, sell widgets on the internet to pay the bills.
Real quick, I got a connection there too. My mother was a worship leader in Waycross, Georgia, for years at Trinity Methodist Church. So that was a long time ago.
Absolutely.
But so good deal.
My first client is from Waycross, and they're still a client today.
Really?
Stewart Candy Company.
Okay,
Been making peppermint candies for over 100 years. They weren't on Amazon. They were old school. All we do is wholesale and manufacture, and wholesale to Friendly Express and
you can't beat
stores.
Those big those peppermints they make.
Papa Puffs, man, so good.
Those are the good ones. Yeah, when cold calling, knocking on doors and stuff, when they have those sitting out front, I gotta grab me a few.
And they got some new, really unique flavors out, like banana pudding.
Oh wow. Woo. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
I'm about to stop to check it out. Well, Fred, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Yes, so much. And this has been another episode of the Southern Executive Experience. Thank y'all so much, and please tune in next time.